Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Myself Dr. Sumeet Patil, and I make videos upon English literature. And today's video I would be talking about a great English poet who was born in the year 1608 and he died in the year 1674, who is none other than John Milton. And today I would be talking about his most famous poem, which is till date it is famous, and it is none other than Paradise Lost. But before starting this topic, or before starting this video, I would like to tell you few things about John Milton, who was born on the year on 9th of December 1608 in London. And as far as his time which he spent when he was alive till 1674, he worked as a civil servant for the Commonwealth of England, and also under the reign or during the rule of Oliver Cromwell, which as you all know, the period of Commonwealth age or Puritan or interregnum age is 1649 to 1660. So he was well qualified, or well I should say he was quite intellectual also, and he graduated from Christ College, London, which is affiliated to University of London. And so many great works he has written. If I talk about prose, he has written several prose, which I would be highlighting in the upcoming minutes, as well as in poetry. He has written several poems that also I would be highlighting, and he has written poems chronologically. And the main theme of John Milton's poems were basically, on one hand it was religious, and on the other hand it was political, because there was political upheaval also during this point of time when he was living and when he was writing. So friends, to begin with today's video, that is Paradise Lost, written by John Milton, which was initially published in the year 1667. And this is an epic poem. And to tell you what is an epic poem, as you all know, that epic poem is a kind of poem which is very lengthy poem, which has more than 1000 lines or more than that. So here also in Paradise Lost, John Milton, he is taking the idea from the Bible, or it is a biblical story, wherein in Paradise Lost there are 3 to 5 main characters, such as the first and the foremost is God, the supreme being or supreme power, then the Son of God, that is Jesus Christ, and after that Adam, the man, the person created by God, and Eve, created by God. And the another character which is the negative side, or who is a villain, as it is people have I should say they have experienced about this character, who is none other than Satan, who when he was living in heaven, he was very beautiful amongst all the angels, all his contemporary people. So this is the background idea of the Paradise Lost, that is God, Satan, Adam, Eve, and apart from these 4 characters, the Son of God, that is Jesus Christ, who came to save people by giving his own life. And to begin with Paradise Lost and its details. Now Paradise Lost, it is a book which is written in around 10,000 lines, and this book, it has been divided into 10 parts, that is from book 1 or volume 1 to volume 10, wherein each and every volume is divided into 10 parts, or 1000 lines are divided into one part, and henceforth you can assume that it has been divided into 10 parts. And then in the year 1674, when it was when the new volume, or it was published posthumously, or before when John Milton passed away, then it was made into 12 volumes. So this is the idea about John Milton's Paradise Lost. And now what has happened in Paradise Lost? Now the first and the foremost thing is God has created Adam and Eve, and when Adam and Eve were created by God, they were living in heaven, okay, and when they were living in heaven, they were living peacefully. They got everything, such as food and clothing, at that point of time clothing was not that much used, but they got each and everything in their hand, and the place where they were dwelling or they were residing is the Garden of Eden, which was located in heaven. And now when Adam and Eve were living peacefully, Satan, who was sent from heaven to hell by God, and why Satan was sent from heaven to hell, the reason behind that is he tried to control, or he tried to control some things in heaven, and he also tried to conduct a war between Satan and between himself and the God, and he wanted the power, the supreme power of God, but he didn't succeeded in that rebellious kind of war. But henceforth what has happened is, when Adam and Eve were living peacefully in the Garden of Eden, God has told both of them, Adam and Eve, to obey the things which has been commanded by him, and the most important thing which was disobeyed by the two people who were living peacefully, that is Adam and Eve, that was the tree, that was the knowledge tree, or the tree of knowledge, wherein God has especially told Adam and Eve not to eat anything, or not to eat especially the fruit, which was an apple from the tree of knowledge. And unfortunately the things which happened, now the thing why it has happened is, I will tell you the brief idea about that Satan, when he was sent from heaven to hell, and then in the hell they built a pandemonium, Satan and his followers such as cherub, Beezelbub, and so many followers which were sent by God into the hell. They were living there. And when John Milton is starting this book, or starting this series of that is the volumes, wherein from book 1 to book 10, and in the volume 9, the part which is the fall of Adam and Eve, it has been mentioned. So the whole idea I would be telling you, that from book 1 to book 10 what has happened, that I would be highlighting in the upcoming minutes. But when Satan was sent to hell, what he did, and I would be highlighting about what kind of situation, or what kind of environment was there in the hell. Now the first and the foremost thing that was present there is utmost darkness, and the next thing is fire, and the lake which was there, it was totally burning, and also it has sulfur. So three things that was unresistible, that is fire, water which was burning, the lake which was burning, and darkness. So God has created that kind of place for Satan and for those people who rebelled against him and the supreme being. So they were unable to resist that thing, but somehow they lived there, and with the help of Satan, they created their army, and once again they were trying to wage the war against the God. But let's see what happens. And now what has happened when or why Adam and Eve were sent to earth, or were sent on earth by God. The reason behind that is, Satan, when he was sent into the hell, he somehow went to the gate of heaven, and there was a guard, that is Uriel, who was protecting the gate, and from he somehow convinced him, and he somehow entered into the heaven, and then he transformed his identity into a serpent or a snake, and then he slowly and steadily went where Eve was working, or she was doing some work, and what he tried to convince Eve is to eat the apple, that is from the tree of knowledge. And initially Eve resisted, but he was quite I should say quite intelligent, or quite cunning. So that is the basic reason he tried, and he compelled, or somehow he compelled to eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge, and henceforth Eve has tasted the fruit from the tree of knowledge. And as soon as she had the fruit from the tree of knowledge, God learnt, and God has commanded that Eve should leave the heaven as soon as possible. But because Adam was loving, or he was in love with Eve, he also had a bite of that fruit, and they both were sent from heaven to earth. And then on earth they had to work for their livelihood, which was quite the opposite in the heaven. They lived easily, peacefully, harmoniously, and the things which they got initially, that was quite easily available in the heaven as compared to the earth. And then coming to the next point, what has happened is they also they means Satan and his followers, what they did is they tried somehow, and they gathered together in the Pandemonium, and what they did is they somehow tried to once again build their army, and once again to take a war against the God, but it didn't happen. And this is the whole summary, or this is the whole background of the Paradise Lost. And now what I would be highlighting is which were the works of John Milton. But before that, I will be highlighting what has happened from book 1 to book 10. So in the book 1, what has happened is, in the book 1, when John Milton is telling Satan was expelled from heaven by God, or questioning his authority, and he builds Pandemonium in hell with the help of his friends, as right now I told you. Then in the book 2, Satan opens debates in Pandemonium, and in the book 3, John Milton is writing, God foresees the imminent danger to men by Satan and creates a remedy for man's fall. His son Jesus Christ will conquer death. Uriel directs Satan to earth, where he disguises himself as a cherub and tricks Uriel. As I right now told you, that Uriel, what he did, he was tricked by Satan, and he entered into the heaven, and he misguided Eve to have the fruit from the tree of knowledge, and henceforth the disobedience of man's fall. And in the book 4th, what is happening is Satan enters the Garden of Eden through the Mount Niphates and disguises himself as a cormorant. And in the book 5, Raphael, the garden angel, warns man of the danger by Satan. Then in the book 6, a warning is given to Adam and Eve against the possible attempt of Satan to seduce man. Then in the book 7, the creation of the new world of Adam and Eve is described, that is about earth. And in the book 8, Adam inquires about the heavenly bodies, and Raphael answers as far as he could perceive, and again warns Adam about the future things. And in the book 9, in spite of all the warning, they fail, and so the fall of Adam and Eve is that has happened. And then in the book 10, the Son of God comes down to the earth, that is Jesus Christ, and pronounces the infliction of the punishment of man. And in the book 11, the Satan intercedes the Father on behalf of man. Finally, in the book 12, Michael leads Adam and Eve to the gates of Eden, tell them about the future coming of Christ, and they go forth sad, yet consoled with the hope of salvation at the end. So this was the whole summary from book 1 to book 10, and several things I have right now discussed. And to finally tell you what were the major prose and poems written by John Milton, chronologically, in the year 1629 he published on the morning of Christ's nativity, and in the year 1630 he published his poem on Shakespeare. In 1631 he has penned down on arriving at the age of 23, and in the year 1632 he published Le Allegro, and in the year 1634 he produced, or he penned down a masque which was presented at the Ludlow Castle. And then in the year 1637, most famous work apart from Paradise Lost that was written is Lycidas. And after that, in the year 1645, poems by John Milton, which were written both in English and Latin. And I forgot to tell you that John Milton, he was well aware of how many languages, that is English, Latin, Greek, Hebrew, French, Spanish, Italian, and Old English as well as Dutch. So these many languages he learnt or he had the idea about. And then in the year 1652 he wrote, "When I consider how my light is spent." And the final thing, or the final years, when John Milton he was writing Paradise Lost, he has lost his eyesight, and when he didn't had the sight, or when he was unable to see, his daughter, she wrote down the final part of the book, or major part of the book of Paradise Lost, and he used to dictate, and his daughter used to pen down the poem, which is an epic poem, which right now we discussed. Paradise Lost as well as Paradise Regained is also published in the year 1671. And then in the year 1673 finally poems, and upon several occasions wherein he, as I right now told you, that John Milton, when he was working as a civil servant with the Commonwealth of England, and then after the during the reign of Oliver Cromwell, and finally his main prose, that is Areopagitica, which was a speech written by John Milton because for the liberty of unlicensed printing, and it was written to the Parliament of England, and he penned down that there should be that printing, those people who used to print, they must be given licensed, and unless licensed, one should not print the pamphlets or books, which was illegal during that point of time. So this was the quite a brief idea about John Milton, as well as I told you a brief idea about Paradise Lost also. And finally, to conclude this video, I would be highlighting about the prose written by John Milton. There are several prose which was written by John Milton, and to tell you about his prose, the first and the foremost thing I told you about Areopagitica, and then apart from Areopagitica, he also wrote down few prose which I am telling you right now. Apart from Areopagitica, he wrote down of Reformation in 1641, published in 1641, of Pre-Latical Episcopacy 1641, and Animad Version 1641, The Reasons of Church Government Urged Against Prelaty 1642, Apology for Smectimus 1642, Doctrine and Discipline of Divorce 1643. These are all prose written by John Milton. And Judgment of Martin Bucer concerning divorce, published in the year 1644, as well as in the same year he published On Education, and in the same year Areopagitica was also published, and Tetrachordon was published in 1645, as well as Colastrion. And in the year 1649 he penned down the Tenure of Kings and Magistrates. And apart from that, he penned down a treatise of civil power in 1659, and he also wrote in the year 1670 the brief idea, or the history of Britain. And as I told you, John Milton was quite inclined towards religion, and he published Of True Religion in the year 1673. And to give you all a brief idea about John Milton's Greek, Latin, he not only wrote in Greek, Latin, English, Italian, and he achieved international acclaim with his lifetime, wherein he penned down Areopagitica, and Areopagitica in 1644, and Paradise Lost in the year 1667. And to conclude this video, I would like to tell you that the things which I right now discussed, it is all about John Milton's major works. And in today's video, I have highlighted Paradise Lost, and what were the things that has happened when God created Adam and Eve, and how Satan he convinced Eve to have the fruit from the tree of knowledge. So I will urge all of you to share this video as much as possible, and please subscribe to my channel by clicking the red button which is here, as well as click the notification bell icon also, so that you will get the updates on my of my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching my YouTube or thank you for watching my video, and don't forget to see my earlier videos also, which I have published and wherein I have made a series of videos on English literature. Thank you so much.